99 problems and I still kept it 100. Yeah, it's been a long time coming. They ain't covering my cloth, they tugging. Putting up numbers, 99 problems and I still kept it 100. Yeah, who don't play, 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 who don't play.
Music licensing reimagined.
Play, who don't play, 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 who don't play, 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 who don't. Long time coming, black on the bottom of my feet from running. Cataracts under my eyes from hustling. Going from buying to selling to customers. Run up the business, God is my witness. Turn up the sun up from Monday to Sunday. We maxing the limits. My mind running like Tom Cruise on an action movie. Moving the mission, they say that I'm tripping. I've been told I need a vacation. I'm finessing a visit.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. This is my final thoughts live stream for UFC London. We have Sean Brady going against Leon Edwards. We have an early start time, which I am really looking forward to. I love these early start times. I really do, because you get to wake up, and in this case, it's not even that early. But you wake up, maybe get some breakfast, maybe some lunch, maybe some brunch. You get to watch the fights, and then you have your whole Saturday night. To do whatever you want. You can go and hang out with friends. You can go and hang out with family. You can maybe stay home, watch a movie, maybe go out and watch a movie. So yeah, the options are endless for these early fight night cards. So I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to enjoying, hopefully, a third winning week in a row, and hopefully enjoying my Saturday night. We have, I think, this card. And then two more cards. We got UFC Mexico next week, card after that. And then we have UFC 314, and then we get a week off. So it's been a grind. It's been, I think we're in the mix of a 12 stretch card or 12 fight cards in a row. But yeah, looking forward to this card for sure. A lot of live dogs sticking out. I think this is the most money line bets I've had probably ever. So I'm hoping, some of these decisions can go my way. Hopefully the judges, they're not too crooked, too corrupt, but if they are, hopefully the scorecards kind of go my way. So what is up? Hopefully everybody's enjoying their Friday. Got a lot going on. We got March Madness. My bracket's doing really well. This is probably the best I've ever done from a March Madness standpoint. I love March Madness. I only missed one pick yesterday in my bracket. I think it was how many games were like 15 games? I think it was 14-1, something like that, 13-1. But yeah, I only missed one last night, so hoping to get the ball rolling with my March Madness bracket. I'm in a couple tournaments with my buddies, so hoping that all goes well. Looking forward to this card. What is up, everybody? Let's start with Jacob. First one in the chat saying, "Let's go." What is up? Got that early card. Yes, early card. I'm loving it. Don't be late. Luckily, I was not late. I was right on time, so all good there. We got the Carrillo in the building. Smash the like button. Appreciate you, Carrillo. Thank you for hanging out here. Yo, guys, if anybody's here, I'm here. Does Carlos and Jan go over 2.5 rounds? Would like some clarification. I'm picking it to do so, but that's kind of a fight I'm staying far away from. There's just too many question marks. By the way, what a name. What a name. You don't see a name like that too often. But yeah, it's a kind of a fight I'm staying away from personally, but I kind of think it's Ulberg by decision. No more singing. Yep, there will be no singing this week, next week, or the week after. But I do have a special surprise for UFC 314. And I'm looking forward to that. We got my guy, Forrest. What is up, Forrest? Good to see you in here. Brady, would you sing us a quick song? Let's kick off the Friday ride. No singing. No singing. Clemson lost. Is Clemson your team? I'm a Buckeyes fan, more of a football school, but they didn't even make the tourney. So, what's up, Brady? Who's getting piped this weekend? I don't think a lot of people are getting piped this weekend at all. I'm picking majority of the fights to go the distance, but I think there's a couple pipings. I think Jordan Vucenic potentially pipes up Chris Duncan, and I think Christian Leroy Duncan potentially pipes up Andre Poliev. But outside of that, I think a lot of decisions for UFC London. Let's smash these bets like Bannon smashes them cheeks tomorrow. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. All right. So before we get into, if you guys could do me a favor, give me a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll be going live tomorrow, 12 o'clock Eastern time for Best Bet. We're going live 1 hour prior to the prelims, so be on the lookout for that. And I say we get into it here. All right, we're going to kick it off with the first fight of the card. It is Guram Kutateladze going against Caio Fernandez. We got Guram Kutateladze as, what is he, tied with the first biggest favorite on the card, tied with second biggest favorite on the card behind Christian Leroy Duncan. We got Guram opened up minus 275. He's currently minus 450. Caio Fernandez opened up plus 235. He's currently plus 350. And yeah, I like Guram to win this fight. Don't have a ton of interest in it from a betting perspective. I think maybe like a live bet on Guram's probably the better way to go, because I think at least early on, initially, Fernandez has the skill to compete on the feet with Kutateladze for the first 5 to maybe 6, 7.5 minutes. The problem with Caio Fernandez is two things. The cardio is very questionable. He slows down in every single fight that reaches the second round, so I don't like that. And then I also don't like the non-existent takedown defense. So Guram, I think, would be wise to mix in the occasional takedown, and they will come free because Fernandez, topples over very easily. So yeah, I think Guram Kutateladze wins the fight, but I think a live bet on Guram is probably the better way to go. Minus 450. What can you do? Potential parlay piece, but to be honest, it doesn't really add much to a parlay. I did mess around with that a little bit. But yeah, Guram's the pick. And I think maybe like a round 3 decision. I know they have those same game parlays, maybe the Guram and the over 1.5, something like that would kind of be where I'd be looking, but nothing for me on the first fight of the night. Guram should absolutely win this fight, though. I mean, there's no excuse for losing to Caio Fernandez. Kevin Holland gets piped. Yeah, I think somebody gets piped in that fight, whether it's a Kevin Holland knockout or a Gunnar Nelson submission. Brady Magomedov, there we go. I like it. Guram is going to pipe for this Fernandez dude. I think he wins. Does he pipe him? Maybe like a late piping. It kind of maybe look more like a milking, though. Maybe slowly milking the energy out of Fernandez and then maybe finishing him late, something like that. I don't know, but I kind of looked at the Guram 2-3 props. They're not great prices, so I'm going to stay away. But, Kutateladze, I'm very confident he does win this fight. Just not sure how he wins it. What is up, Muhammad? Good to see you in here. I feel CLD is not going to win this weekend. Oh, if he loses to Andre Poliev, something's seriously up. I mean, he should absolutely win, but that'd be a major upset. Major upset. All right, moving on to the next fight. It is Nathan Fletcher going against Caolan Loughran. We have Nathan Fletcher open up plus 130. He's now minus 140. Caolan Loughran open at minus 150, currently plus 120. So late money is coming in on Nathan Fletcher. I did bet Caolan Loughran earlier in the week at plus 128. It looked like the line was going to potentially flip. I actually thought it was going to flip, but like I said, late money coming in on Nathan Fletcher. I like this matchup for Caolan Loughran. I know people are very low on Loughran after he destroyed probably thousands and thousands of parlays in his last fight. He had a very easy matchup against Jake Hadley where he just looked awful, showed bad fight IQ, showed bad striking defense, showed a bad performance in that fight. But, this Nathan Fletcher, I don't think he has the striking, the volume, the jab that Hadley really used to win the fight there. And yeah, I think stylistically, it's like on the feet, you have to favor Caolan Loughran. I mean, this guy is going to have a big striking advantage. Nathan Fletcher, very one-dimensional. And then I just struggle to see Nathan Fletcher being able to, A, take down Loughran and B, hold him down especially. I can see, Fletcher getting reversed. I just feel like Loughran's going to be much, much stronger. I've seen Fletcher reversed a lot and throughout his entire career, and I think that could happen here as well. So yeah, I like the Loughran side. But yeah, a lot of people are on Fletcher, which is expected. I think people are very low on Loughran after last fight, and I think people are excited about Fletcher, who came in there in his UFC debut, tough finale, that is, and got a nice second round finish. But this is just a much tougher matchup. Yes, this is a rematch. Yes, Fletcher won the first fight, but that fight was 7 or 8 years ago. A lot has changed since then. So I'm on Loughran, 1.5 units plus 128, hoping to kick the card off with a W there. Dude, Jan Blachowicz is going to school, Carlos. I would agree with you if this was 2020, 2021, but I am worried about Blachowicz at this point. But I'm not touching that fight. Carlos Uber will be taken for a ride. I like that. Carlos Uber. That's hilarious. Miller agreeing that Carlos Uber will be taken for a ride. We'll see, man. We'll see. Blachowicz coming in here with the double knee sleeves, the neck brace on, probably coming out in a wheelchair for this fight. We'll see if the old man can get it done one last time. But I'm not touching that co-main event. All right, let's move on to the next fight. We got Shauna Bannon going against Puja Tomar. I'm picking a lot of underdogs on this card. I'm picking Puja Tomar, but this is a fight I'm just going to stay away from. I think it's a clear dog or pass spot just because this fight's going to look very close, very competitive. It's going to go to the judges, and it's going to come into the hands of the crooked, corrupt judges. And yeah, who knows? Who knows? It's going to be a lot of kicks versus a lot of kicks, a ton of air punching. I think a lot of missing in here. I think it's gonna be a close fight, very close fight. I don't get this line personally. I think it's going to look 50-50. I kind of like the volume a little bit more of Tomar. I like the willingness a little bit more of Tomar. So I should be betting on Tomar, but I just don't want to. I don't want to put any money on this fight. I do think Bannon could potentially look minus 170 if she goes to the grappling, but it's just not something I'm really counting on her to do. So this is a big, giant pass. I look to maybe bet the fight ends by split decision. Had that one circled for this week, but it is the worst price tag I've ever seen. It's plus 225, which is, I think, the worst split decision prop that's literally ever been out there. So it just goes to show you, like, this is a close fight. There's value on the dog. Does she get it done? I don't know. It all comes down to what these crooked, corrupt judges think. So it's a big if I bet on Puja Tomar, and she lost the fight, I don't know if I'd show up next week, to be honest. I think I'd probably just call it quits. If I put money on really either of these fighters, if I put money on either of these fighters and I lost that bet, I don't know if I could show up the next week. I just don't know if I could. So yeah, it's going to be a pass, and I feel good about passing. I feel very good about passing on this fight. The judges will gift the Indian chick with another win. Yeah, we could see it. I scored the fight 30-27 for Rayan Amanda dos Santos, and Tomar won the fight. So maybe it's a good thing I'm not a judge, but geez, that was wild. Molly McCann might be the side tomorrow. We'll see. That's a tricky fight, but there is an angle I do like there. Some Puja plus 170. Hey, I think it's a great line. I eyed it up myself. I saw Puja plus 163. I just didn't want to put money on the fight. I just not a fight I want to put money on, but I probably should have. We got Scottsdale, Arizona. Treadmill team has arrived. Who's getting milked this week, Brady? I don't think anybody's getting milked, to be honest. I don't see any potential milkings. I think Christian Leroy Duncan potentially milks Andre Poliev, potentially drags him into deep waters, gets on his hands and knees, gets his pail, and potentially milks Poliev down the stretch. But yeah, I think we're going to see a ton of decisions, as we usually do in London. In these London cards, we typically see a lot of decisions. I've lost so much on violence bets in London, and I've learned my lesson, and that's why I don't have much violence this week. Yeah, I think it's a dog card. One of those cards, you bet all the underdogs, and you'll probably be plus EV. I think a lot of live dogs this card, and I have a lot of underdog bets, so I'm hoping that's the case. And 2025 is the year of the dog, and it's the year of violence. 2024, we saw nothing but favorites winning, and favorites winning by decision. You know, overs were hitting at a spectacular rate with the trash glove narrative thing, and then we saw favorites, you know, winning a lot of fights, maybe not looking their price tag, but just winning a lot of fights. And now in 2025, we are seeing fights start to finish again. We are seeing underdogs start to cash again. And that's where I'm best with these violence bets. So Puja Tomar OnlyFans is top tier. Does she have an OnlyFans? I don't think so. But I guess Jacob might be subscribed. So I don't know. Will that terrible judge Salad and Tomato be judging tomorrow? Probably. You know, they're crooked. They're at most events, you know, Sal D'Amato, Chris Lee, McCarthy. I mean, they're all very bad. Mama B by submission. Yeah, it's a big number. I bet Rayan Amanda dos Santos by submission, who I think is like a 3 times better grappler than Shauna. And she wasn't really able to have any success taking down Tomar. So I'm not sure if Tomar is improving or maybe I overrated Dos Santos a little bit. But yeah, I like the sub in her last fight, but we'll see. Holland could easily get milk. Gunnar going to look minus 700. That's the thing about that fight. You know, Gunnar could look minus 700, but on the flip side, Holland could look minus 700. Are you fading Ulberg in DFS? I don't think he's getting a finish, and he won't score well if it's a decision in 9K. I'm not completely fading him. I don't think. I haven't made my lineups yet, but I do like some other guys a lot more. I like Christian Leroy Duncan at 9,600 a lot more. I like Jordan Vucenic at 9,300 a lot more. And just a quick, speaking of DraftKings, quick recap of these first couple fights. Not a ton sticking out from a DraftKings perspective. I think Loughran is very interesting as an underdog. I don't think he's going to be that high owned. And then even Tomar, I think could score decent. I don't think there's a ton of upside, but decent in a win. Like she's high volume, maybe more of a cash play though. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Can Bannon please milk me? You have to ask her. Ulberg by decision looks easy money to me. That's my pick. I'm not too confident in it though. Year of the eye poke. Yeah, lots of eye pokes. Lots of eye pokes. Chris Padilla at minus 110 is a sleeper. We'll be touching on that fight very shortly. But first, we're going to touch on Christian Leroy Duncan going against Andre Pulev. We have Christian Leroy Duncan, the biggest favorite on the card, opened up minus 400, currently minus 550. And Pulev opened up plus 330, currently plus 420. And yeah, this is a spot where Christian Leroy Duncan should go out there and handle Pulev and handle him pretty convincingly here. You know, Christian Leroy Duncan, I think, is going to be one of those guys in the UFC who, you know, will kind of lose to the guys that are, you know, somewhat decent, right? Like Gregory Rodriguez, even Armin Petrosian. I know Petrosian got cut, but Petrosian's a good fighter. So yeah, I think he'll lose to kind of those guys, the guys that are, you know, pretty solid. And then I think he'll, you know, beat convincingly the guys that just don't belong. You know, guys like Dennis Tuolumne, guys like what's his name, Ribeiro, and a guy like Pulev, who I just don't think belongs. I know he's young, maybe he's improving, and he did look really good on the Contender Series, but he looked really good against a walking punching bag. So I just don't think he's that great. So yeah, and he kind of looks to me like a guy that just is going to get finished here. I mean, I don't know what it is about him. You just look at him and you can just kind of tell, like, this guy is going to get finished. This guy just doesn't belong here, especially against a guy like Christian Leroy Duncan. So I think Duncan is a big favorite for a reason, and I think he finishes Pulev as well. How I played this fight was, I think, you know, Christian Leroy Duncan 2-3 props are always solid. Got a round 2 finish against Dennis Tuolumne. Got a round 2 finish against Ribeiro. Kind of messes around early. Kind of plays with his food a little bit early. Probably some clinch work early. Maybe he goes for some takedowns early. But I think this fight gets extended a little bit, and I think he starts to really push it and turn it on come that second round. I think he gets a finish in that second round. So put 1.25 units total between the second and third round prop. And I'm also on Christian Leroy Duncan by submission plus 1,100 for a quarter unit. It kind of reminds me of the Carlos Vera submission prop last week in a sense that a lot of people are on Christian Leroy Duncan by sub. It's kind of the community submission prop of the week. And the reason it is because it's a giant number. He's like minus 150 to minus 200 to finish. And Christian Leroy Duncan, I believe, is a black belt. And if he gets his fight down to the ground, like, the sub is going to be very live. This guy's a ton of submissions as an amateur, and he's slick on the ground. He just, you know, more often than not prefers to knock out his opponent. And I actually bet Christian Leroy Duncan by submission against Dennis Tuolumne at plus 650, right? And it didn't cash. He obviously knocked him out, but I mean, plus 1,100 against a guy in Pulev who I think is kind of on the level of like a Dennis Tuolumne. I don't mind that at all. I don't mind that number. Probably knockout, but I wouldn't be shocked if he, you know, subbed him, took him down, subbed him, or even like the club and sub could be in play as well. So yeah, I think Duncan wins this fight. I think he wins it inside the distance. And if he doesn't win it inside the distance, he should be very, very ashamed of himself. Question is, how good is Pulev's chin? I think it's decent, but when you're eating, you know, flush kicks to the chin, you know, big shots to the body, you know, spinning back fist, spinning back elbow. But when you're eating shots like that, I don't think it matters how good your chin really is. I think his chin's decent though, but I think at some point he's going to touch the chin or take him down and just dominate him. Christian Leroy Duncan on top is vicious, great ground and pound, and a sneaky submission game, like I said. Who's getting piped? Probably Poliev or Chris Duncan. I think Vucenic pipes Chris Duncan or Christian Leroy Duncan pipes Poliev. Other than that, I don't see many pipings. Who's getting piped sounds crazy. It does sound, because it is crazy, man. It is crazy. Tybura looked like a pile of lard. It's funny you say that. I thought Tybura looked in better shape than usual. Typically he does show up looking like a pile of lard, but Tybura looks to have put in some work this camp, at least in my eyes. Just can't back him at that number. Yeah, it's a big number. How is Big John McCarthy so smart and knowledgeable and his son is so bad? You think Big John might have been seeing the milkman, or is Ron adopted? Doesn't make sense. Well, I think these judges, they're crooked, they're corrupt. They don't know what they're watching. Maybe they do know what they're watching, but yeah, they're crooked, they're corrupt, and I think that kind of sways their judgment there. All right. Let's move on to the next fight. It is Mick Parkin going against Marcin Tybura. And yeah, we got Mick Parkin opened up plus 160, currently minus 150. We got Marcin Tybura opened up minus 185, currently plus 130. So yeah, a lot of money coming in on Mick Parkin. And I do have a pretty big bet on Marcin Tybura. Got reverse CLV'd, which is fine, because anytime I get CLV, I lose. So maybe I get reverse CLV'd and I win here. But I like Tybura, and here's why. I think a best case scenario win for Mick Parkin is a 50-50 greasy back and forth fight that takes place on the feet. I think that's the best case scenario. I don't think Mick Parkin's knocking out Tybura. I don't think that's happening. And I don't think Mick Parkin's going to look like a massive favorite wherever this fight goes. I mean, this is a guy in Mick Parkin who's going to very close fights with guys like Muhammad Usman, guys like Caio Machado, guys like Jamal Pogues, and now he's just taking an astronomical step up in competition here. And Tybura, on the flip side, Tybura has potential to look like a big favorite. He has a path to look like a big favorite, and that would be with the takedowns, with the control time, the ground and pound, the submission game as well. Mick Parkin, we just haven't seen his ground game tested. All we know is he trains with Tom Aspinall, which means absolutely nothing. Tom Aspinall's not going in there and fighting for this guy. If Tybura gets on top, he's probably staying there the entire round or finishing the fight. So, yeah, I'm on Tybura here. Getting reverse CLV'd, it literally doesn't matter to me at all, because I've gotten so much CLV throughout the years, and I've lost most of those. So, yeah, if money keeps coming in on Parkin, so be it. I think this is a massive show-me spot for Mick Parkin. I'm not completely sold yet. Winning close fights against Caio Machado and Muhammad Usman they don't excite me. Knocking out Lucas Bresky, it just doesn't excite me. If he beats Tybura, it's his biggest win by a mile. So give me Tybura here, and I think he's an interesting play on DraftKings as well. I think Parkin's going to be very popular. I haven't seen many people on Tybura this week, and Parkin's the dog on DraftKings, but the favorite on the money line. So I think Tybura can be very sneaky, especially considering he does have a path with that grappling. So give me some Tybura, and we'll see. We'll see. Ulberg is going to get his ass beat. Y'all play too much. Here's the best piece of information I could ever give anyone when it comes to this card. If you think Parkin, Ulberg, and Lonnie are locks, you're effed. Yeah, none of those three are locks. I'm picking two of those three to win, but yeah, none of those three fighters are locks by any means. Out of the 9,000 fighters on DK, which one are you fading the most? So let's see. We have Vucenic, Ulberg, Kavanaugh, and Christian Leroy Duncan. My favorite two, Christian Leroy Duncan and Jordan Vucenic. Those are my favorite two. And then between Kavanaugh and Ulberg, I won't have a ton of, to be honest, because I think Kavanaugh wins the decision, but I think it's going to be very competitive. And I think Ulberg wins the decision as well, and which is also going to be a very competitive fight. So yeah, not too interested in Ulberg or Kavanaugh from a DraftKings perspective. My ownership's going to be going towards Christian Leroy Duncan and Vucenic, who I think both go out there and not only win but potentially finish as well. Without a doubt, one of them is going to lose. I'll tell you that for sure. Hopefully it's Mick Parkin. Tybura showed up with somewhat of a respectable haircut. Good. I'm sure he got a lot of backlash for his haircut, a couple fights ago, and rightfully so. Mick Parkin sleeps Tybura. I don't see it. If he does, so be it. It would be a surprise to me. Mick Parkin just hasn't flashed any power outside of Bresky. Winner gets Meatball McCann. Winner of this fight? Winner of Mick Parkin Tybura gets McCann? We'll see. He will go down as the second greatest after Aspinall. We'll see, man. We'll see. One thing I've learned is just because you train with a really good fighter doesn't make you really good. We've seen that time and time again. Some of these training partners of these guys have just looked god-awful. So we'll see. Okay, now, come on. Muhammad Usman is not beating Marcin Tybura. Okay, look at who's beating Marcin Tybura. Here's who's beating Marcin Tybura. Are you ready? Sergey Spivak. Say what you want about Spivak. When Spivak's on, this guy is one of the best fighters in the heavyweight division. Tom Aspinall, Alexander Volkov, guys like Derek Lewis, Fabricio Werdum. Sakai's not the best loss, but yeah, and when he's losing to very good guys more often than not. So Tybura would not lose to Muhammad Usman, absolutely not. All right, let's move on to the next fight. It is Lonnie Kavanaugh going against Felipe Dos Santos. We have Lonnie Kavanaugh. What is he, like minus 275? Felipe Dos Santos plus 235. So not a ton sticking out here. It's one of those fights where I think the line's too wide, but at the end of the day, I got to go with Kavanaugh. Felipe Dos Santos is just very hittable. He's very tough, but very hittable. And then he just has no takedown defense. So I kind of think that Lonnie can potentially mix in some takedowns. He'll be able to land here. But one spot I do like here, and I do have a 4-leg Hail Mary parlay that comes out to a little over plus 1,000. And one of those legs is the Felipe Dos Santos plus 5.5 point spread, which means that he needs to just win 2 total rounds between the Crooked Club judges. So just 2 total rounds. And what's interesting about that for Felipe Dos Santos is, 1, he's very, very durable. 2, this is a flyweight fight, so more often than not, it is going to decision. And 3, Felipe Dos Santos actually cashed that plus 5.5 point spread against a guy like Andre Lima, who is very good, and that's going to age very well. And a guy like Manel Kopp, who could potentially be champion in the division one day. So, yeah, I mean, if Felipe Dos Santos is winning at least 1 round against Kopp and Lima, I think he can win at least 1 round against a guy like Lonnie Kavanaugh, who does fight close at times, who can be hurt. So for me, it's the point spread for Felipe Dos Santos. I don't mind the plus 3.5 as well, but the reason I went plus 5.5 is because of the last week. Last week, I had my finger over the trigger of Kurt Hollabaugh plus 3.5 point spread. And if I lost that bet, I would have put a hole through my wall, because how does Kurt Hollabaugh not win at least 1 round against Alexander Hernandez? So just to be safe, I went with the plus 5.5, because if there is a Crooked Club judge with a Crooked Club scorecard, the plus 5.5 still hits there. So yeah, plus 5.5 in a parlay for me, but that's about it. On DraftKings, I mean, Felipe Dos Santos could be an interesting pump play. 7,100. This guy's dangerous, durable, solid volume. He's a dog. I don't mind some Felipe Dos Santos as a pump play. Not a ton of interest in a lot of these lower priced guys this week, but yeah, Kavanaugh 9,100. I'm not sure I love that. Call me delusional, but I see a Dos Santos sub. That's a hot take, man. I think if Dos Santos is winning, does he have? Yeah, he does have some subs. That's a hot take. We'll see. That'd be a big upset. Probably a big line as well. Parkin is the modern day Mark Hunt. Oh, Mo Usman is god awful. Rewatch that Parkin. Yeah, that fight was awful, dude. That fight was terrible. Delusional, he will get KO'd. I hope not. His last 2 opponents were far more dangerous than Dos Santos. I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, Antoine Ho's decent. I actually like Antoine Ho, but And then Jose Ochoa, he's decent as well. I think Felipe dos Santos is kind of similar to those guys, to be honest, skill for skill. Like dos Santos, he's not terrible. What's the over 2.5 priced at? The over 2.5 is sitting at minus 260. So it is heavily favored to go the distance, and I would tend to agree. Kurt for sure won round 2. Yeah. Luckily, I didn't bet the plus 3.5. I ended up going with the Kurt Hollabaugh finish only, which pushed. But if I did bet the plus 3.5, I don't know if I'd be here right now because I would be so pissed off. So pissed off. DraftKings, I think BetOnline has it as well. You can do the plus 3.5. I know they're doing like the plus 5.5. You can even get the plus 7.5 on DraftKings, the alternate. Plus 1,400 for the Dos Santos by sub. What's up, gamblers? What is up, Jay? Good to see you in here. Haven't been here in a long time. Well, it's good to see you. Thank you for hanging out. I like the over as a parlay piece there. Yeah, I can agree. As a man who picked Usman to beat Parkin, what kind of weirdo would I be if I then thought Tybura couldn't? Hey, we'll see, man. A lot of people are on Parkin, and I'm getting reverse CLV'd. We'll see what happens. Moving on to the next fight, it is Jai Herbert going against Chris Taco Padilla. And yeah, very interesting line here. I looked into this fight. I think it was the first fight I looked into. I ended up taking Chris Padilla at plus 100. The lines kind of stayed here all week. I'm not sure where I kind of expected the line to go. I felt like a lot of sharp people would be on the Herbert side. A lot of public money probably on the hot dog here in Chris Padilla. But how I'm kind of seeing this fight is, yeah, skill for skill. I mean, Jai Herbert's the more skilled fighter, right? Jai Herbert's, he's good. He's good. But Jai Herbert's 36. He's turning 37 in the next 2 months. Obviously, he's taken a lot of damage. The durability has always been in question. The chin is very sketchy, very questionable. The ground game for me has always been in question. Not many guys have really tried to test it outside of Renato Moicano. But yeah, Chris Padilla, I went and watched a ton of tape on Padilla. I watched every single fight I could. And I even went back like 9 or 10 years of this guy. And yeah, there's some things you don't like to see in the tape, right? Like I've seen him slow down. I've seen him get hurt. I've seen him break. I've seen him get finished. And then you look at like when were these fights? Oh, 9 years ago, right? And you kind of just slowly see this guy getting better and better and better. So I think people are looking at fights of Chris Padilla of a couple years ago and seeing things they don't like, which I agree. But one thing that people forget to learn is, fighters can make improvements, right? Especially guys in their 20s. And Chris Padilla absolutely has, because Chris Padilla looks unrecognizable in his first two UFC fights, especially the Rong Zhu fight. This guy was very competitive with Rong Zhu, and I think that win is going to age incredibly because Rong Zhu is a good fighter. We just saw what he did to Cody Steele. So yeah, I mean, Herbert, he's the better striker. He's bigger, but he's also older. He's also a lot less durable. I think Padilla at this stage of his career is a lot more dangerous. Jai Herbert's kind of changed his style around as of late because he kind of has to. He kind of has to fight a lot more tentatively because he can't go out there and get into wars anymore at this stage of his career. He doesn't have the durability to do so. But I think Padilla is going to make this a dogfight. And I like Padilla here. I think Padilla can win by any method. I think it could be a Padilla knockout. I think it could be a Padilla sub. And even like a Padilla decision where it's competitive, but Padilla's having the bigger moments, maybe wobbling Jai, maybe getting some takedowns. I think Padilla by decision's on the table too. So, yeah, I bet Padilla was my first bet of the week, but I can also see why a lot of sharp people would be on the Herbert side. He's fought the much better guys. He is probably more skilled, but he's getting up there. He's getting up there. I just don't like how he's fighting nowadays. So we'll see. And yeah, that's kind of how I'm feeling. Like, I think if Jai Herbert's winning this fight, like best case scenario, it's like a split decision. Like even that Bedoya fight, yes, he looked good, but that fight was a lot more competitive than I remembered going back and watching it. So yeah, I mean, Herbert by decision and split decision, they're definitely on the table. Padilla is sus. Yeah, how's he sus? How's Padilla sus? I got Taka by finish. I can see it. Padilla's elbow was, yeah, and he goes for those elbows a lot, and I could see a potential elbow here. Are you calling people over 35 old? No. He's almost 37, though. And at the lightweight division, that is getting up there. The 37. No, you're good. You're good. Padilla will beat the brakes off of Jai Herbert. I see a KO coming. I'm convinced someone in the crowd will call the police mid-fight when they witness such a horrendous ass whooping. Okay, you're a lot more confident than me and Padilla, but I hope you're right. Yeah, exactly. Old for the fight game. We see, guys in the lower weight classes, 37, 38, 39. That's getting up there. You can definitely get away with it more when you're heavyweight, light heavyweight, middleweight. But in the lower weight classes, it's getting up there. Jai is cuter, so that's my lean. All right. All right. Here we go. Next comment. Jai via crooked judges. Yep. Could see it. Could see it. Could be close. Could be close. Leon round 2 and 3. We'll see. Does Padilla even have a good chin? I think he has a much better chin than Herbert. I have seen Padilla finished and knocked out, but it was a shot to the body. It was to the body. Got hurt to the body, and that fight was like 9 years ago, like 8-9 years ago. So yes, I do think Padilla is a lot more durable than Jai Herbert. Padilla has been knocked out once, but again, it was a body shot that really ended the fight for him. Jai is cuter, so that's my lean as well. Okay. All right. Padilla to pipe Jai on site. We'll see. And typically, I do bet unders in Jai Herbert fights. It's a fetish of mine. Losing money on Jai Herbert unders. For the first time in like 5 fights, I'm not betting an under here because Jai Herbert unders, they're dead. They never hit anymore, right? He went to decision with Rolando Bedoya. Going to decision with Farazim, that makes sense. Going to decision with Ludovic Klein, going to decision, the Kyle Nelson fight going the distance, that one bit me very badly. So yeah, a lot of these fights just going to decision nowadays for Herbert, kind of change up his style, but we'll see. We'll see. Would you smash Puja? No. Next time Zombie Girl fights, we need Brady to sing Zombie live for her. Yeah, she needs to walk out to my version of Zombie. I would love to see it. All right, let's move on to the next fight. It is Morgan Charriere going against Nathaniel Wood. Let's see where this line's going. The lines are moving today. Lines are certainly moving today. We got Morgan Charriere. He's currently sitting at -130. Nathaniel Wood sitting at +110. Money has came in on Wood throughout the last several days, which kind of surprises me. But at the same time, not really, because I do think the line should be a lot closer. This is your typical case of, minute winning versus moment winning. Nathaniel Wood is just going to throw, land, be a lot more active than Morgan Charriere. And Charriere, is the bigger guy, the guy with more power, and the guy that's more durable. So you can make an argument for both sides here, which I think is why the line's kind of coming in. For me personally, there's a spot I really like for this fight. So I think the Charriere finish only is a great bet, and it's like -180, which I think should be probably -300. So if you like Charriere, that finish only is a very good look, because Nathaniel Wood's not finishing anybody at this stage of his career. He couldn't finish Charles Rosa. He couldn't finish Daniel Pineda, of all people. And yeah, if Charriere is winning, I kind of think it is going to be a finish. So yeah, I think the Charriere finish only is a great bet. But for me, I'm on the Nathaniel Wood decision only, which is the opposite of the finish only, which means if there's a finish, the bet is voided. And if it goes to decision, I got Nathaniel Wood at +123 for 1.25 units. And the reason being is Morgan Charriere is 5-9 in decisions. He fights very close. He can be low volume. He can get outworked. We are going to be in London, which I think is really big as well for Nathaniel Wood. Nathaniel Wood, I don't think, is lost, I believe, in London ever, if I'm not mistaken. And Nathaniel Wood's like, I think 8-2, maybe 7-2 in decisions. Nathaniel Wood. So yeah, great record in decisions for Wood. Awful record in decisions for Charriere. If this fight goes the distance, I think Wood should be favored in that decision only market. So I'm on the decision only. But yeah, I mean, could Charriere knock out Wood? Potentially, but even then it's like, who's Charriere really knocking out? And the answer to that is a bunch of bums, a bunch of certified bums, knocking out Gabriel Miranda, knocking out Manolo Zucchini, who could be the worst fighter in UFC history. Shout out to Manolo Zucchini, the worst fighter in UFC history. So knocking out those bums just tells me nothing. If he knocks out Nathaniel Wood, good on him, but I don't know if it's, I don't know. I don't think so. So, yeah, I like Wood here, but I like the Wood decision only. I think the money line was fine. It was like +150. now, not as intriguing, but my favorite spot is absolutely that decision only there. We got Uncle Weezy in the building saying, oh, yeah, it's not too often. Me and Weezy are head to head with the ass shaving of the week. So, but he is taking Charriere to shave the ass of Nathaniel Wood, which is fine. If he shaves his ass and knocks him out, my bet pushes, which is kind of why I do like that decision only prop. Kind of regret not hopping on the Wood line early for an ARB. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Wood plus 150, I think is a good look. I think it was a good look. Wood's going to win this. We'll see. We got some oys in the chat. Between these two, I'm definitely going to sleep. Okay. All right. I thought we were talking about the fight. Sweet baby boy Brady. We face Nathaniel Wood around these parts. We fade Nathaniel Wood around these parts. I like Wood. Wood's a solid fighter. Solid fighter. Wood, remember the decision? Yeah, I mean, the guy's not finishing anybody. Didn't Wood already get rewarded a decision before? Hometown advantage? Probably. What fight was it? It wasn't the Feely fight, was it? Was that fight in his hometown? Let me see. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, it was in London. The Feely fight. Very close fight. Very close fight. He got a unanimous decision there. And then he also beat Pineda in the UK as well. He lost to Naimov, but that Naimov fight was in Abu Dhabi. So, and then he beat Charles Jourdain. That was in France. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Some hometown cooking could be in play. Being a pirate is a bad base for MMA. Wood by points is a lock. I don't like that you said as a lock, but I do like it. Nathaniel is going to lay the Wood on-site piping. We got shout out to Juju Smith-Schuster in the building. What is up, Juju? Big fan. I did add you on fantasy last year or this year or last year, and put $10 on the free agent thing, and then you got hurt, and it's kind of bad. So yeah, what is up, Juju? Good to see you in here, man. Peep the split decision prop on Bannon Tomar and blow me later. Peep, it's plus 225. It's terrible. Yeah, we got Juju in the building. USC stand up. Big fan of Juju Smith-Schuster. Brady, would you rather smash Caolan or Puja? Oh my God. Puja, I guess. Moving on to the next fight. It is Jordan Vucenic going against Chris Duncan. We got Vucenic is minus 450. Chris Duncan is plus 350 here. And yeah, the line's gotten kind of wide here. A lot of hype on Vucenic. I think this fight could look very competitive up until it doesn't type situation. I just think Vucenic kind of has Duncan covered everywhere. I think on the feet, he's a lot quicker, a lot more defensively sound, a lot more durable. Duncan kind of a walking punching bag type guy, very tough, but eats punches with his face. And then I just think there's going to be a big discrepancy when it comes to the grappling. I think Vucenic can potentially get takedowns, get on top, get into dominant positions, and either win minutes or potentially find a sub. And I think the sub is live. I know a lot of people are on the inside the distance for Vucenic. It's kind of getting hammered. It was plus money. It's no longer plus money. It's like minus 140. Looks like minus 125 best price. And yeah, that's probably the best way to play Vucenic at this stage of the line here, because if he's winning, I do think it's inside the distance. Duncan has been finished twice, once by knockout, once by submission. And if you are betting that Vucenic side, you probably don't want to mess around with the knockout or submission. You probably just want to take that inside the distance because either's on the table here. So yeah, Vucenic for me, Vucenic inside the distance, and I like him quite a bit on DraftKings. Not a ton of plays I like up top, but Vucenic is probably my favorite this week. Vucenic domination and then finish. Bit of a hype behind Jordan Vucenic. Now, yeah, there definitely is some hype behind this guy. Vucenic by murder. Oh boy, Vucenic is gonna sub him. Yep, that's what I'm picking. I'm picking Vucenic by submission. Do you think the over 1.5 hits? I think it'll be close. I think it'll be like a round 2 type finish. Minus 275. Jeez, I mean, you beat some line movement there. It's long. Yeah, it is. It is long gone. The Scottish people are fragile. What? A couple of them are. Paul Craig, he's been finished a ton. Duncan's been finished a ton. Duncan's going to get piped on site. Yeah, I could see a piping here. Duncan shouldn't be plus 340, more like plus 150. Yeah, we'll see. I think it'll look a lot closer up, and like I said, up until it doesn't. You think Guram won against Vucenic? It was close. I scored the fight for Vucenic personally, but yeah, it was close. It was very close. All right, let's move on to the next fight. It is Alexia Thainara going against Molly McCann. So this fight is on the main card, and it's on the main card for a reason. I actually think this fight's going to be electric. We saw the face-offs today. These ladies are going to get into it. I think these ladies are going to go in there and swing dicks a little bit. For me, I have a couple spots I like here. I took the Thainara by submission early on at plus 500. It went down, and now it's back up to plus 470, which I think is a very, very generous line considering Thainara has 6 or 7 submissions. She has a lot of arm bars, a lot of rear naked chokes, and Molly McCann, yes, she's improved her grappling, but she's been finished on the ground by submission just so many times, put into so many bad spots. And even in her last fight against Bruna Brazil, she was put into a ton of bad spots. She got her back taken, and if Thainara gets in those same spots, she's probably submitting McCann. So I think, Thainara by sub is very live. I'm kind of surprised at this line, though. A lot of money's coming in on Thainara throughout the week consistently. Now she's minus 220. McCann is plus 185. And I do like Thainara to win, but she has taken this fight on short notice. She looked great on the scales. She looks to be in great shape. So there's that. Maybe that's why money's coming in on her. But yeah, it should be an interesting fight. I like that Thainara sub. I think the fight ends by submission is very sneaky as well. They're big plus money prices. And I also think just violence in general is very sneaky here because I think either fighter's live for a submission. And if it turns out that Thainara is not ready for this level, not ready for, UFC caliber fighters like McCann yet, maybe McCann can overwhelm her in her hometown and potentially get a finish. So I like the fight doesn't go. I like Thainara by sub. I like fight ends by sub. I think they're all, spots that make a lot of sense. And Thainara, I did see that she's calling the submission. She said that Molly McCann is either going to tap or sleep. And we'll see if she goes to that grappling, which she should. I mean, she should go to that grappling against McCann. So, yeah, Thainara, I think, gets it done. And I think she's sneaky on Draftkings. She's very expensive. A lot of people aren't going to want to pay up for, a newcomer on short notice. But, solid volume and solid grappling. I could see a sub here for Thainara. Let's see here. Meatball spinning elbow. She can get it, Brady. Hey, she could. She could. Thainara by sub is juicy. Yeah, I think I saw plus 470 still out there for that Thainara by sub. I think it's very much on the table. Very much on the table. Molly could clearly lose all 3 rounds and still win by... Yeah, that's on the table. The judges, we've seen some crooked corrupt scorecards before. Not gone deep with the tape. Okay, not gone deep with the tape on the Brazilian at all, but seems odd. Yeah, so you watch her fights before the Contender Series, and her striking looked just god-awful, but she's improved a lot in the striking. She's a lot better. She looked unrecognizable in the striking in her Contender Series fight, but it's her grappling that I think might give McCann some problems here. Plus 350 on DK for the sub now, considering the round 1 or 2 instead. Yeah, I do think it's probably round 1 or 2, but I just wouldn't mess around with the round personally. I think even plus 350 for Thainara by sub's not bad. Also, the fight ends by sub on DK is probably close to the same price, which might be safer because Molly can go for submissions as well. And yep, probably Sal D'Amato. All right, moving on to the People's main event. It is Gunnar Nelson going against Kevin Holland. Let's see where this line is at now. It is now, looks like a pick'em. Yeah, the lines are really moving today. So Holland minus 105, Gunnar Nelson minus 115. So I unfortunately placed a wager on Kevin Holland at plus 120 for 1.25 units. And my thinking here is, who's beating Kevin Holland in the grappling? Who's doing it? Who's beating this guy in the grappling? The answer to that is middleweights. Big, strong, hairy middleweights like Roman Dolidze. Roman Dolidze takes him down. He gets injured in that fight, and ultimately it's a doctor stoppage, corner stoppage. Who else is finishing him? Rene de Ritter, who's massive, a guy that used to fight at light heavyweight. I think even had like a heavyweight fight. Rene de Ritter takes him down and submits him at middleweight. Who else is beating this guy? Hamzat Chimaev. Big, giant, strong, really good middleweight. Who else is beating him? Marvin Vettori, big middleweight. Derek Brunson, big middleweight. At welterweight, we haven't seen somebody take down Holland and have his way with him on the mat, right? Holland needs to be fighting at welterweight. This is his weight class. This is the weight class where he's going to have a lot of success. And we see that when he's winning fights at welterweight, he's not only winning them, he's winning them by finish. He's knocking some of these guys out. He knocked out Ponzinibbio. Knocked out Chiesa, right? So, yeah, I think this is the spot where Holland could potentially surprise some people here. I think Holland has all the tools to win this fight. I think Gunnar Nelson, if he doesn't take down Kevin Holland, he's screwed. I mean, Kevin Holland has an astronomical advantage on the feet. And yeah, Gunnar Nelson, 2 fights in the last 5 years, and I'm just not impressed. Like, I'm not impressed with taking Takashi Sato to decision. I'm just not impressed with that. And I'm not impressed with him finishing Brian Barberena, who's had like back surgeries, neck surgeries. I think Barberena even retired or got cut. I'm just not impressed with that. And I was on Gunnar by sub in that fight. I was on Gunnar by sub in both the Sato and Barberena fights. But yeah, I kind of feel like this is the spot that Kevin Holland should go out there and win. But betting on Holland is terrifying. It's sketchy. This is the 100 Gambler fight of the week. But one last ride. Give me Kevin Holland at welterweight. Hopefully he gives a shit in this fight. We'll see if he does. Holland's ready. Hey, let's see if he's ready, man. Holland could show up and surprise everyone for a change and get the KO. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm hoping for. 100 Gambler fight, it is indeed. Holland looks a bit jaded this week. Gunnar is back. That's what's up. Yeah, he fights once every 3 years, so we'll get to see him fight in 2028 after this Holland fight. Holland by sub is a hot take, but I've seen some people on that Holland by sub. Could be like a club and sub though. Brady, we might need to sit you down and have a talk. You're absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. I mean, he got finished by Tim Means. He got finished by Tim Means by Dart. No, Holland Darst Tim Means. Yeah, Holland Darst Tim Means. Yeah, I was against Tim Means. Yep. 170 is Holland's class. Yeah, he's got to be fighting at 170. He can't beat a lot of these middleweights that are just too big, too strong, taking him down. So we'll see. This is a spot that I think Kevin Holland should win. And that's a good point. Holland is very, 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 very dumb. One of the dumbest fighters in the UFC. One of the dumbest fighters in UFC history. Holland wins these fights, bro. The red flags are at a minimum, considering Holland is an underdog. Yeah, Holland was a favorite to Roman Dolidze. Holland was a favorite to... Who else was a favorite to? The de Ritter fight was like a pick'em. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. All right. One last ride. We're also not betting Gunnar Nelson, the dude that's fought twice in 5.5 years, but we'll see. It's a sketchy fight. Carlos Ulberg, Jan Blachowicz. We got Ulberg is setting at minus 300. Blachowicz is plus 250. It's a big stay away from me here. I actually, taped this fight and thought, Blachowicz is live. Like if this fight was a couple years ago and we were getting Jan Blachowicz at plus 250, it'd be a no-brainer. It'd be an easy bet. The problem is Blachowicz has taken a lot of damage. He's dealt with a ton of injuries this later stage of his career. He's coming off of like multiple shoulder surgeries. He had a neck or back injury a couple of years ago. I'm just worried about the durability of Blachowicz at this stage. I'm worried about what he's going to look like. We haven't seen this guy in there in almost a year and a half, 2 years at this stage. So I kind of feel like Ulberg probably is getting Blachowicz at the right time here. But with that said, I don't really minus 300 on him. So I'm going to pick Ulberg as far as a pick, but I'm not betting anything on this fight. If anything, I think Blachowicz on DraftKings could be interesting, but I don't trust him. He's probably going to show up with the double knee sleeves, the tape around, the ankle tape, maybe some shoulder tape, and maybe a neck brace. It could be bad. It could be bad. Blachowicz is just, I don't know. He's taken a lot of injuries recently. So yeah, it's a big stay away from me on this one. Over 2.5, I do like, but I also am concerned about what Blachowicz is going to look like type thing. Polish power. Yep, the Polish power is there, and maybe he can mix some takedowns, but I don't know. They're going to set up Ulberg versus Yuri. Jan's time is over. Ulberg versus Yuri would be phenomenal. What about Brady by sub? He also said in an interview wants to be the first to sub Leon. Do you take into consideration the win condition when a fighter says it and you like the fighter? Sometimes. Like, I remember Molly McCann said she was going to sub Diana Balbita. She said that she has been working on the submission game and she really wants to get the sub. I took that into account, but yeah, of course Brady's gonna say that. We'll see. Jan talking like it's his retirement fight. It could be. I mean, the dude's 42, so we'll see. Jan's gonna show up in an Iron Man suit. I can see it. Ulberg KO round 1. Granddad is going to bed, and that's kind of the worry. Like, if I was to bet an over, Granddad could go to bed. So, I don't know. I'm staying away from this co-main event. With that said, it's time for the main event. If you guys have not already, be sure to like the video. I do appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel. Betting breakdown video is going to be recorded right after this. And then best bet tomorrow, 12 Eastern. Also have a big surprise coming up in the next couple weeks that I think a lot of you guys are going to like. And I'm excited to announcing that pretty soon here. But yeah, moving on to the main event. It is Sean Brady going against Leon Edwards. So yeah, I'm the biggest Leon Edwards hater out there. I don't think there's a guy that, well, I guess Uncle Weezy probably the biggest Leon Edwards hater out there. I'm the second biggest Leon Edwards hater out there. I don't know. I just always pick against this guy. I always get it wrong. I mean, this guy went on like a 13 or 14 win streak at one point. I just don't like the style. I think his fights are just terrible to watch, but he's a very good fighter, And I'm looking at this fight, and it kind of reminds me of like the Pereira Ankalaev fight, because I'm a big fan of Alex Pereira, and I hate Magomed Ankalaev, but I ended up betting Ankalaev just because, you know, I think people are really, I don't know, overrating Sean Brady a little bit after his Gilbert Burns fight. Like, he looked incredible against Gilbert Burns, but we got to remember, Gilbert Burns is 38 years old. He's taken a ton of damage. I think he's on his way out. The durability of Gilbert Burns is pretty much non-existent at this point. The dude's getting dropped by Muhammad Usman or Kamaru Usman jabs. So yeah, he looked great against Gilbert Burns, but it just doesn't really tell me much. And then you look at Leon Edwards. His last loss in the last how many years comes against Belal Muhammad, right? And I think the general consensus is Sean Brady's going to go out there and do what Belal Muhammad did, but I think there's one big problem. Sean Brady is not Belal Muhammad. I just don't think he is. I think people are continuously underrating Belal Muhammad, and still to this day underrating Belal Muhammad. Belal Muhammad's very, very, very good. You know, the pressure, the pace, the cardio, the wrestling, the striking. He mixes it all together very well. I'm just not sure. Well, I am sure Sean Brady is not Belal Muhammad. And I went back and watched that Edwards-Muhammad fight. Like, that fight was a lot closer than I remembered. Yes, Muhammad clearly won, but Edwards was very competitive in a lot of spots in that fight. So I think this line's wild to me. I think it's a very, very wild line. I'm not sure why Edwards is this big of a dog. I just don't get it. I think people are overrating Brady after his Burns win, and I think people are giving Edwards too much crap against for the Muhammad fight. So I ended up betting Leon Edwards plus 140 for 1.25 units. It's got to be Edwards for me. It's got to be Edwards. I just think the line's off. We'll see. Maybe Brady does take him down and control him or sub him, but I don't know. I just don't think Sean Brady's Belal Muhammad. Fight goes minus 150 in the main. I like it, but I don't know. I looked at the fight goes, but I ended up staying away. It's either Sean Brady by sub or Leon by decision. I don't think Brady's subbing Leon personally. I was on Leon in both Usman fights. Orgasmic experience. I was on Usman in both Leon fights, which was the opposite of a orgasmic experience. Brady can win by decision or get a sub. Leon can get a finish, but it wouldn't be till the last second or second to last round. I don't think he will do enough to win a decision, though. I think if anyone's getting finished, it's Leon, to be honest. Belal is a beast. Belal's very good. Belal better than Brady. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a lot better. So we'll see. Belal Muhammad's cardio is 100 times better than Sean Brady's. Leon could finish rounds 3, 4, 5 worth sprinkling. I looked at those, man. I mean, they're massive numbers. They're massive numbers. Plus 1,400 for Edwards, KO 3, 4, 5. I thought about it. Yeah, I thought the staff talk would maybe move the line a lot, but money came in on Edwards after that. But we'll see. He said that he's fine now, and that was like 6 weeks ago. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Leon is just better. Bro is crispy, and Sean Brady is being overrated here. That's kind of where I'm leaning, but yeah, I'm a big fan of Sean Brady. I like the guy quite a bit, and I hate Leon Edwards. I hate the dude, but I just think this line's off. Parkin, Padilla, Edwards are proper live dogs. I'm on 2 of the 3. So we'll see. I can't pick a guy who fights like a timid coward. Hey, I'm with you, man. I'm not a big fan of Edwards' style, but this guy knows how to win, and we're in London. If this fight's close, it's going to Edwards, right? All right, let's do a quick recap here. On a bunch of dogs. I'm on Edwards as a dog. I'm on Holland as a dog, and these lines have moved, and some of them are pick'ems, but like Padilla, I got a plus 100. He's now minus 110. I got reverse CLV'd on Tybura. Got him at plus 100. He's now plus 130, I think. Tomar, I think, is a very live dog. Not betting it. I'm on Lochran as a dog. So yeah, lots of plus money shots here on some dogs. I think Vucenic inside the distance. I got Vucenic in a parlay. What else do I like here? Not a ton of props. Thainara by sub. What else? I think that's about... Oh, Christian Duncan, round 2, 3 props, and then sub sprinkle, and that's about it. My Hail Mary parlay is Christian Leroy Duncan inside the distance. Jordan Vucenic inside the distance. The plus 5.5 Felipe dos Santos point spread, and then Thainara McCann fight doesn't go. Half a unit on that to win a little over 5 units. Best of luck, everybody. Be on the lookout for the betting breakdown video. And that's about it, guys. We'll talk to you very soon. Good luck for UFC London, and it should be a good card. See you guys later.